Hi guys, welcome back to our channel. This is the Moonstone Mamas. My name is Devan, and I'm going to be doing a different video than the normal run-of-the-mill jewelry unboxing. I'm going to be talking about 10 different gems and minerals that you may come across when you first start possibly reselling or just getting into jewelry in general. This will be like a quick reference guide, how to identify. I'm going to go over a few different things that you may hear when identifying jewelry, such as like a Mohs scale, striations, patterns in the different stones, to kind of give you a better understanding of how you can sort of identify at home and be more comfortable with the stones. I have a few books here that I'm going to show that's really helped me out during the first couple of months and trying to identify stones. This is a really great reference book. This one's by this author here. I like it because it shows the science behind it. This one goes into definitely more of the striations of the stones, the different patterns that the stone may have, and the different varieties of the stones. This book is more Crystals for Beginner, kind of talks about the metaphysical, and I'm going to go over that a little bit because that's another, hot interest in regards to crystals, their energies, their vibrations. This is a really great one. I do very much enjoy the pictures in this book. It goes over the chakras. I also have picked up a gemstones and crystal reference guide. This is another quick one. This book right here is a book that I really enjoyed. I picked this one up at my local crystal shop. This one's really great. It talks about the key words, it talks about the chakra that's related to the stones, and I really like the pictures that it shows in here. So to start off, the first stone that I'm going to show is a pretty common one. It's turquoise. I have a few different color varieties of turquoise here. This one's a pendant. This is inlaid turquoise, and as you can see, this turquoise is more on the bluer side. This turquoise here is a turquoise chip necklace, and you can see this one's polished. Now with turquoise, it has a hardness on the Mohs scale of about 5 or 6. So it is a pretty hard stone. And the Mohs scale is just a way to identify how resistant a stone is to being scratched. So for example, 10 on the Mohs scale is a diamond, and 1 on the Mohs scale is talc, something that's easily, you're able to scratch it and it pretty much disintegrates. That's a number 1. And to kind of give it reference to something that I believe everyone has with healthy good nails, on the Mohs scale, a nail bed is about a 2.5 on the Mohs scale. So that was a really fun, interesting fact to kind of relate it that way. And then some other kind of relatable facts about the Mohs scale. A steel nail is about a 6.5. So turquoise is a tough stone. That information will come in handy a little bit later as I start to talk about howlite and different stones that may be dyed to look like turquoise. But right now we're talking about turquoise. This turquoise is a little bit of an older turquoise. When turquoise ages and the oils on your skin, it tends to get more green in hue. This sterling silver ring has an inlaid turquoise. And as you can see, there's very minimal striations. And when I mean striations, I mean the patterns on the actual stone. And then this is like a gold over like nickel silver. And here is some turquoise on here as well. So that's turquoise. Turquoise is mined in Iran, Afghanistan, China, Australia, Chile, and in some places in the United States. It's a December birthstone, and it has lots of different varieties. You have Sleeping Beauty turquoise, you have Kingman turquoise, you have Bisbee turquoise. The list goes on and on. I definitely encourage you to look it up yourself. Go to a local gem store if you can. Touch it, feel it, put your hands on it. It's a great way for you to be comfortable, is to putting your hands on the stone and touching your stone and just of course, doing research about it. Turquoise in the metaphysical is meant to inspire one to act out truth, compassion, and forgiveness. As I was surfing the web and doing more research in regards to this video, I came across an interesting fact. It stated that 90% of the turquoise on the market right now can be possibly dyed howlite. And so that brings me to my next stone that I'm going to be talking about, which is howlite. It often gets mistaken for turquoise because it can be dyed. I'll go ahead and show howlite in its undyed form. And of course, this has been tumbled, polished, and shaped. But you can see that it has a dark brown striation throughout. Oftentimes it has a darker one. So guys, really, this can heavily be mistaken for turquoise. But the difference between howlite and turquoise is the Mohs scale. Howlite on the Mohs scale is 3.5. Turquoise on the Mohs scale is between 5 and 6. So if you have no clue if your piece of jewelry is turquoise or howlite, do a scratch test. And that'll really determine if your item that you have is either dyed howlite or turquoise. I'm going to show you some examples of howlite dyed, and I have quite a bit of examples of dyed howlite. Howlite commonly occurs in Southern California, Nevada, and oftentimes Turkey. So as you can see here, I have quite a bit of examples of howlite being dyed to look like turquoise. Most of the time, howlite is surface dyed. So a lot of times another way to determine if something is dyed howlite or turquoise is, if such like this example, you can go ahead and see inside your piece. And most times if this is a clean piece of jewelry, you can see that it's not 100% blue. There is some white through the drilled part of the howlite. This is a good example here because this is a very blue. This is supposed to be turquoise, but it is dyed howlite to resemble that. And you can see here in some of these, some of the pigment is coming off. And especially this guy right here is a great example of how when howlite touches the skin and it has been dyed, the oils from your skin can release the pigment from the stone. So here's a great example of dyed howlite. And guys, howlite has a matrixing, or it has white striations, oftentimes black striations, gray or brown intersecting lines. So sometimes it can be hard to tell, but again, try those different methods that I mentioned. Take a look at a piece if it's a drilled piece, and take a look at the inside. Of course, check the varying colors on here. This is another great example of howlite being dyed. It's beautiful, it's stunning, but again, some of the color is coming off and there's a lot of color variety missing on this one where it touches the skin. So just bear in mind that. Another stone that oftentimes gets commonly mistaken for turquoise is magnesite. And I have some beads of magnesite here, and I'll go ahead and show them briefly and explain that magnesite also has a Mohs scale of 3.5 to 4.5. So it is a softer stone in comparison to turquoise. So magnesite tends to be a white stone with black or brown rock veins. So oftentimes it is mistaken for turquoise when it is dyed as well. Another fun fact about magnesite is that if you lick it, it will stick to your tongue. So I'm definitely not recommending you lick every single piece of jewelry you get. That's just another fun way to determine whether or not your turquoise is either dyed howlite or magnesite. So, moving on, I'll go ahead and talk about the next item. The next items I'm going to talk about is coral. This is one that I've come across often, especially in Southwestern style jewelry. I'll give an example. Turquoise and coral are very popular in color in the Southwestern jewelry. As you can see here, this is an amazing example of dyed howlite. Even the howlite here is dyed to resemble coral. Another piece of Southwestern jewelry, and this earring too, as a inlaid turquoise with some inlaid coral. So this is coral. Can you tell right off the bat which one of these is not real? I'll give you a hint. It's not these two. It's this one. Let me show you how you can tell it's not coral. Right here on the top here, it looks like it came out of a mold, and all of them are almost identical. So this right here is a great example of a piece that you can wear if you'd like. It's lightweight. It has a vintagey looking clasp, and it is resin. You can even tell by the sound if this is not real coral or real wood beads. So this is a great example of how something may look like it's coral, but feeling it, listening to it, touching it, the weight of it makes a difference. Coral is about 3 to 4 on the Mohs scale, so it's very soft. It's formed by existing organisms. Corals are found in tropical and subtropical waters. They're naturally dull, so they tend to have to be polished to get a pop of color. And deep red coral, such like this one, oftentimes is dyed. So you can see here a perfect example that this is dyed. You have your seed bead on top, meant to make this kind of look a little bit more corally, if you will. But you can see that because it has touched the oils of our skin, and probably that this is an older piece, the dye is coming off. Another example of real coral is this guy right here. This is a hunk o' coral. Another way to determine if red coral has been dyed is to stick it in a glass of milk. If the milk turns pink, then it has been dyed. If the milk is red, then it's real coral. This is an example of another piece of natural coral. And there, ladies and gentlemen, is coral. The next mineral I'm going to talk about is quartz. If you're new to jewelry, quartz is probably one of the most common minerals that you're going to find. It comes in different colors, different variations. It has a Mohs hardness of 7. There's over 24 different varieties of quartz, ranging in commonly amethyst. You have your rose quartz, which is more on the pinkier side, and different variations of that. You even have rutilated quartz, which, as you can see, is very fun, along with tourmalated quartz, which means it's married with tourmaline, and this has some rutilation. Quartz can be dyed into different colors, and it most commonly occurs in Brazil, France, and different parts of the United States, such as Arizona or New York. It occurs in virtually all mineral environments and may be associated with every single mineral. So this is a great intro one. In the metaphysical, quartz is meant to magnify. So if you're interested in, let's say, rose quartz, which is often associated with love, happiness, hearts, all the good feelings. If you were to pair it with quartz, it's supposed to amplify the stone that you're wearing. So again, this is quartz, very fun, clear stone. It's a beauty. And since we're on the topic of quartz, let's talk about amethyst. Amethyst has the same Mohs hardness as quartz, since amethyst is a purple hued quartz. Fun fact, it's a February birthstone. It's found all over the world, and as you can see, there's different color variations in amethyst, from dark to lighter to even darker, and sometimes it's even mixed with another, and this amethyst right here is mixed with citrine. Stunning. Oftentimes, the darker amethyst is heat treated, but nonetheless, in whichever purple hue you find amethyst, it's stunning. Some metaphysical insights on amethyst. It's known to help clear negative or addictive qualities. Another common stone that you're going to come across when dealing with jewelry is tiger's eye. It's a brown stone with a beautiful flash to it. Can you guess which one of these pieces of jewelry is not real tiger's eye? If you guessed this one, you are right. This is just plastic. And the more you handle and the more you touch these stones, the more you'll be able to identify by sight and even by touch if something is a real stone or not. A dead giveaway if a stone is it's ice cold. This right here is a perfect example. It has a flash like it would be tiger's eye, but it does not have the weight or the temperature of a natural stone. This would be a perfect example of jewelry that you could wear, because if you had stones this big in tiger's eye, it would be very heavy around your neck. So this would be a great alternative to someone who wants to wear something that resembles tiger's eye but doesn't want to wear the weight. Tiger's eye has a Mohs hardness of 7, so just like quartz, it's pretty tough. It sources out of South Africa, and it's very inexpensive. So you'll find it commonly in jewelry. It's gorgeous, and in my opinion, it's a very understated mineral, as look at that flash. Stunning. It comes in different varieties like blue tiger's eye, iron eye, or tiger's eye matrix. Here's an example of a different colored tiger's eye in a more palm stone form. And there you have it, tiger's eye. In the metaphysical, tiger's eye is supposed to help facilitate finding emotional harmony with others. The next stone I'd like to talk about is Sodalite. Sodalite has a Mohs hardness of 5.5 to 6. In the metaphysical, Sodalite is meant to aid your understanding of emotional issues. Aside from that, it's a very stunning stone. Another blue stone you may come into contact with is lapis. And lapis is the shortened name of Lapis Lazuli. It is a blue stone with gold flecks, oftentimes have white striations. This is Lapis Lazuli in stone form. And as you can see, it has white striations. The gold striations you see in Lapis Lazuli comes from pyrite. Lapis has a Mohs hardness of about 5. So right there in the middle. It's composed of the minerals lazurite, white calcite, and the sparkling specks are pyrite. The deeper the blue of lapis lazuli, the more value it has. It's slightly porous, so it's definitely not a good one to wear when you're cleaning. The last mineral I'm going to talk about in this video is jade. Jade has the most hardness between 6 and 7, and jade is actually named from 2 different minerals, jadeite and nephrite. Jade is found in various colors, as you can see here. White jade, we have a green jade, a lighter green jade, a lavender jade. Jade can be found in Burma, China, Guatemala. It's often polished into cabochons, just like in this ring here. Beaded into necklaces, bracelets, or even solid rings. It's often carved in for ornamental animals, such like this little turtle here, or in Buddhas. Jade is one of the hardest stones that I've found in my small time in working with jewelry to identify. A lot of stones may feel like jade, a lot of stones may look like jade. So for me, I always do this rule of thumb. I take a piece of jade, I hold it in the palm of my hand for about 30 seconds. I place it on a different area, flat, and then touch it again. If the item still feels cold, chances are it's jade. Jade does not retain heat. I would definitely recommend that if you have a piece of jade or may think you have a piece of jade, Google some different ways on how to identify jade yourself, or take any of the minerals that I've talked about in this video to your local jewelry store or pawn shop. Someone who you can trust to give you the best information possible. I've had a lot of great experience with jewelers in my local area, especially the crystal shops in my area. They've really helped me advance in my crystal identification. Some believe jade has metaphysical abilities that help support the emotional body being more open to joy and encourage a more joyful life. So guys, that's it. That's the end of the video. I've listed 10 different gems, minerals, stones that I've come across in my short amount of time in working with crystals and minerals. As always, I don't claim to be an expert. I have just found a lot of my information online, the books that I've discussed earlier in this video, and of course, minerals.net is a really great reference for you to check out if you're interested. It's an online database that has countless minerals, stones, gemstones to help your identification purposes. So if you're interested in giving me any advice on the stones that you've seen today, I'd love to hear about them. Interested in videos like this and would like to see a continuation of this video, sort of like a series, let me know in the comments down below. And don't forget to subscribe to the channel. Make sure you hit that bell notification so that you're alerted whenever I go live or when I have a new video uploaded. Hope you guys enjoyed this video. Let me know in the comments down below what you thought, or if you have any other advice, information, or knowledge you'd like to share, because knowledge is power. See you in the next one, guys. Bye-bye.